Today we're breaking the silence on three moves that have split the fan base and put the coaching staff on high alert. A controversial draft pick, a forgotten player on the verge of becoming a key piece, and a trade proposal that sounds absurd, but might actually expose something much bigger. Nothing here is random. What looks like a gamble might be strategy. What seems like chaos could be an old plan finally surfacing. You ready to face what no one else is saying out loud? Then hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and stick with me till the end, because this story is just getting started. When Jim Harbaugh speaks, we listen. But this time, he didn't just talk, he sent a message loud and clear. In a recent sit-down with Rich Eisen, Harbaugh revealed that the Chargers almost traded their 22nd overall pick in the draft. Multiple teams called. Some offers were solid, but none, absolutely none, were enough to make Harbaugh take his eyes off Omarian Hampton. And that raises a question that goes way beyond the kid's talent. What does this pick really say about the Chargers' vision for the season? Harbaugh didn't hold back. "We were shocked he was still on the board," he said. "Teams were trying to move up, but for that player, it had to be a jaw-dropper of an offer." That's a bold statement, but every seasoned fan knows post-draft comments always come with a sprinkle of storytelling. What really matters is what's behind the pick and what it tells us about the Chargers' direction. And here's where things start to heat up. If Hampton was that high on their board, why did the Chargers sign Najee Harris first, and why have they been testing out other names in the backfield throughout camp? What looked like a standard best player available move could actually be a calculated push to flip the offensive identity. Harbaugh's not looking for just any back. He wants a bulldozer, a new anchor, someone who can put this offense on the ground, literally, and shift the tempo. And for that, Hampton might be the guy. The North Carolina product fits Harbaugh's blueprint to a T. He's physical. He welcomes contact. He punishes defenses, especially in the second half. He's not asking for permission. He's bulldozing right through. And maybe more importantly, he fits the mindset Harbaugh's been instilling since day one in LA: control, intensity, and total field dominance. But of course, that only works if Hampton gets touches. And here's the dilemma. With Najee Harris already on the roster and others fighting for reps, how is this going to play out? Is Harbaugh lighting a fire in the room to ignite competition, or does he already know Hampton's the real RB1? And everything else is just smoke? Fans are already split. Some are hyped, some are scratching their heads, some think it was a reach. But nobody can deny this. Harbaugh knew exactly what he was doing when he turned down those trade calls and pulled the trigger. And now, the future of the Chargers has Omarian Hampton's name written all over it. Whether you're ready or not, he's the face of this next chapter. But while we're still processing that bold pick, another storyline is quietly building on the other side of the ball. A name nobody's really talking about might just blow up in the heart of the defense, and the new DC isn't hiding his excitement. Remember Justin Eboigbe? Maybe not. And that's exactly why this could catch people off guard. Last season, barely 26 defensive snaps, practically invisible. The Alabama product had already been labeled by some as a bust. But if Jesse Minter, the Chargers' new defensive coordinator, has anything to say about it, that label's about to be shredded. On the Chargers Weekly podcast, Minter didn't just praise Eboigbe. He doubled down. "I don't want to set the bar too high, but we have high expectations." Sounds like a contradiction, right? But the tone was clear. Minter is pumped, and when a new coordinator with a sharp eye for talent highlights a guy no one's watching, it's time to pay attention. According to Minter, Eboigbe hasn't stopped grinding since last season ended. No complaints, no excuses, just work. He added more than 20 pounds of muscle, now weighing in around 315 to 320. Physically, he's a beast, built like a true interior presence. Long arms, solid frame, and the kind of versatility that lets him rotate inside or out on certain packages. But here's the kicker, the timing. Because the Chargers lost some key guys on the line. Poona Ford, gone. Morgan Fox, gone too. Suddenly, that interior rotation looks thin. Eboigbe doesn't just fill a spot, he might be the answer. If he takes the leap Minter is hoping for, this defense gains muscle, flexibility, and surprise factor. And we're talking about a guy who's already in the building, already knows the system, and is finally built to take on the trenches. Funny how the line between bust and breakout can come down to timing. Not every guy flashes in year one, but some guys become weapons in year two. And if Eboigbe's that guy, if he steps out of the shadows and becomes a pillar of the front seven, then Harbaugh and Minter are proving they're not afraid to move pieces around. And by the look of it, Eboigbe is earning more snaps and more trust every day. In fan chats, his name is popping up again. Some are skeptical, some are hopeful. But in that locker room, where guys see him work up close, there's a different vibe. And that, my friends, means more than any stat line. Now picture this. If the defense is getting new life from within, and what about the offense, where the running back room is getting more crowded by the minute? Because as wild as it sounds, there are analysts floating a trade idea that could blow the whole thing up and start a full-on turf war in the backfield. What if I told you that even with Najee Harris already signed and Omarian Hampton drafted in the first round, someone out there still thinks the Chargers should bring in another running back? Sounds crazy? Maybe. But that's exactly the kind of suggestion that hit the airwaves this week, and it's got people whispering. According to Anthony Palacios from Last Word on Sports, the Chargers are one of the top landing spots for Kenneth Walker, currently with the Seahawks. Yeah, Kenneth Walker, the same guy who's battled injuries, sure, but when he's healthy, he can carry an offense. The logic? Seattle might want to move him before he hits free agency, and the Chargers, with their short-term deal for Najee, the exit of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, and the first-round investment in Hampton, might still be unsure who their real RB1 is. So what if Harbaugh is building a controlled chaos backfield? 3 big-name backs, all leaders, all hungry, all fighting to prove who's the alpha. But here's the flip side, let's be real. Adding Kenneth Walker right now would be wild. Throwing him into a mix that already includes Harris and Hampton would be like dumping gas on a fire that hasn't even sparked yet. Hampton's still adjusting. Harris is out to prove he's still got it. And now you want to drop another heavy hitter into the mix? Why? To split a locker room? To burn capital on a guy who might walk at the end of the year? That's why, even though the rumor is out there, it feels more like clickbait than an actual plan. But even so, the fact that people are talking about this shows how the rest of the league views the Chargers right now, as a team with raw talent, but an identity that's still forming. A team that, for all its promising pieces, still leaves questions unanswered. And maybe that's the most frustrating part, because while fans dream of a new-look offense and a revitalized defense, the outside noise keeps saying they still don't know who they are. But geez, do they? Harbaugh's always played chess while others played checkers. And maybe this, Hampton, Harris, the Walker rumors, maybe it's all part of a scripted act, a smokescreen to hide the real plan. Maybe the truth isn't in who joins the team, but in who's still on the field when the game's on the line. So here's the question. Which one of those 3 would you trust with the ball, 1 yard from the end zone, game on the line? When a coach turns down trades for one guy, when a forgotten player transforms into a physical freak, and when even the wildest trade rumors hint at internal tension, something is brewing. Maybe in silence, maybe by design, but definitely with purpose. The Chargers aren't just testing pieces, they're redefining who they are, and you, as a fan, are right in the middle of it. What looks like a mess might be a masterpiece in progress. Now tell me, which of these 3 moves has you the most fired up or the most on edge? Drop a comment, smash that like button, and subscribe, because the game is already on, even if the field's still empty.